Hello, readers. Welcome back to The Adulterous Whore. I'm your host, Stacey. Now, I'm just about to introduce an author to you who will destroy you from the inside out like she did me. Welcome, Angela.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. It's my absolute pleasure. So, why don't you start by telling my listeners all about your book and what it's about?
Uh, well, my book is called Shattering Glass, a story of loss, love, and survival. It's about Donna Thompson. She's 16 years old at the beginning of the novel. Her mother died in a car accident. So she's trying to navigate life without her mother, and her father is very volatile, and you don't know what to expect from him. So she's trying to figure out when, he's safe to approach and when she needs to hide from him. Then she ends up meeting Elijah, a classmate, and then finds some common. She's not really sure at first, but she sees something in common with him. And then later
Yes.
finds out that his father died. So they have that shared grief. And he becomes very much like her safe haven, the person that she trusts the most.
Yeah.
Um, so, and then he ends up leaving. And it's then for her to figure out life and figure out how to keep going on. And, 'cause the book does explore trauma and that healing that we have to have when we have that grief. And it's about how one connection with a person can completely change our lives and leave a lasting impact.
You certainly hit me in the feels, I'm not gonna lie. It was quite the book. Now, you started out the very first chapter with a huge bang. Obviously, Donna is being abused in her own home. Now, how hard was it for you to write something so triggering for potential readers?
At first, when I was reading it, I didn't quite have that in my mind. But as I kept writing, I thought, I had friends who had been in similar situations. And I thought, well, I need to be very sensitive about that, about the kind of detail I'm putting in. So I was trying to be very intentional about keeping those moments brief, but enough description so you knew what was happening, but not be overly graphic or linger on the trauma. So I wanted to give enough for readers to understand the reality of Donna's home life without overwhelming the reader, just in case they had gone through something similar. So it was super important for me to honor anyone who'd been through similar experiences by being respectful about those moments.
Definitely were. I could feel just how tender and how well you had approached the topic. So kudos to you for that. Now, alcoholism is a major recurring theme in this book. Now, has addiction affected your life in any way? And how much research did you have to do about alcoholism for people that suffers the effects of it from one of their loved ones?
So alcoholism is something I experienced in my own life. Many of the adult men that I grew up with struggled with it. Some have been sober for many years and some still struggle with alcoholism. So I understood from a very young age how it affected me and how it affected everyone around me. I've seen firsthand the effects it has on the person who drinks and the people that, how they navigate their life around the alcoholic, knowing, what their mood is. How do I have to gauge what their mood is and know how I need to approach them. So I didn't really have to do a lot of research. So I grew up seeing it and we're so overwhelmed with, literature and movies and shows that show a lot of that as well. So you can, a lot of that from watching TV and movies as well.
You covered it quite well. I've been fortunate enough not to have to deal with alcoholism in my family, but from the way that other people have talked about it, it seems like you covered everything exactly the way it is in real life. So that was really impressive. So Elijah is such a gentle but really stark contrast to Donna's father at the start of the chapter. Now, how important was it to the story for you to have such a gentle young man be such a polar opposite to Donna's father?
It was so important. I really wanted the readers to understand why Donna felt so connected with Eliza. So I needed to have like that volatile home life and then to the polar opposite of someone who was so comforting and gentle with her. I want readers to understand immediately why Donna feels safe. They're only 16, so a lot of people might dismiss, like they have no idea what love is or any of that is because they're so young. So that was so important for me for them to have that bond and people to relate to it. Having Elijah be calm and the steady presence helps readers see the contrast, the chaos that she comes from versus the peace she finds with him. So the audience needed to fully understand that he isn't just a love interest. He represents the first place in her world where she can breathe, be herself, and not live in fear. So the contrast is what makes their connection very powerful. The readers hopefully able to connect with that as well.
Yeah, well, I definitely did. It made Sense to me, but I was wondering if I was understanding the dynamic correctly. So yeah, I guess I did. That's absolutely amazing. Now, my heart broke over and over again for Donna. Why do you think she never asked for help from anybody before she told Elijah what was happening to her?
I guess, if, friends of mine who've been in similar situations, they didn't really know who they could trust. The person that they're supposed to trust the most in the world and have complete confidence isn't there for them and it is the one that's hurting them. So they kind of grow up believing nobody's ever going to be there for them. So when you grow up in that unpredictable, abusive home, you learn quickly, you keep quiet, keep peace, don't make things worse. If I do tell, something may never happen. And then if, that father figure or the mother, whoever's doing the abuse, if
Yeah.
they find out I told, it's going to get worse for me. So I just keep quiet about it as much as I can.
Makes complete sense. That makes complete sense. Now, I had a question for you. What made you want to mix like the trauma of what's going on with a sexual awakening? Because that's quite two different themes, and it was really interesting to see how you blended them together. What made you go for that?
I felt very much that, teenager it's realistic for them. Teenagers experience such complicated emotions. Sometimes they're not able to really figure out what their emotions are or where that's coming from. So, when Donna finds a person she truly trusts, like Elijah, someone who treats her gentle and respectful, the natural step in a relationship could be deeper intimacy, for them to move to that sexual spot. Elijah is that complete safe haven, the one person that never questions her or makes her feel unsafe. So she trusts him completely.
So, how do you think Elijah leaving sets the tone for the rest of the novel? Do you think things would have turned out differently had he stayed?
I think for Elijah, it sets the novel that there's possibility for Donna to trust people. Even though her home life is so volatile and unpredictable, someone has shown her kindness and respect that she's now thinking, okay, maybe there's other people out there that if I ask for help or I reach out to, they'll be there for me. His presence plants those seeds of hope in her. I don't think, if he had stayed, it would have gone any differently. They're only 16. There wasn't much he could do to really help her. So I think his departure makes Donna's later choices and struggles more powerful because she has to learn to survive already the loss from her mother, and then the loss of Elijah, the one person she trusts most. So she has to learn how to survive and grow and find strength within herself.
It's beautiful and poetic. I love that. I love that answer. You bring in to the story at this point Mildred, who happens to be dating Donna's father, but she's kind of like a guardian angel. Now, is this person based on anybody that you know in real life?
She's kind of modeled after many different women that I've encountered in my life, especially my grandmother and my mom, who have always been there. They've always been very supportive. They've been steady women. They're women that I've always kind of reached out to, talk things through. So a lot of them found their way into Mildred. And she's also based on friends who have stepped in for me, times when I didn't even know that I needed to ask for help or even how to ask for help. They're the people that showed up and they were just there for me when I needed them. So in essence, she's not just one person, but she's a blend of all the women I've kind of met and had a connection with.
She was probably one of my favorite characters going through the book. She was so solid and gentle and unintrusive, and I really loved that.
The self reflection that Mildred has too, when Donna asked her, well, why are you with him? And she
Yeah.
has that reflection of, I didn't think I deserved any better.
Yeah, so she kind of not understands how Donna is.
Yeah. And I think that connects them even more as well.
Kind of almost trauma bonded in a really unique way. I love that.
Yeah.
So she's finished school now and she has moved out and she's moving on with her life. And at this point, we're introduced to Daniel. Now, do you think Donna has really let go of Elijah at this point? And how important was it to introduce a new love for her?
For Donna, Elijah's her first love. So no matter what, he's gonna stay with her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really know how to let him go. Like he's the first person that really showed her safety and comfort. So, he lives so deep in her soul. And even with time and distance between them, that connection never really fades. And I know
Mm.
a lot of us, we sometimes even think about our very first loves. Like there's always a place for them, even if we don't have those same feelings. But introducing Daniel was important because Donna needed to experience love in a different way. She needed to know that there's still other people out there that she could have a romantic relationship. Daniel never replaces Elijah, but he represents part of Donna that's trying to grow and heal and build a life beyond her past.
Answer. Now, Daniel takes Donna out for Italian food. Do you like Italian food? Is that why you added it in there? And what's your favorite thing to eat from there?
I really do. I really do like Italian food. It's just kind of that comfort food that just, on a cold night or just a night you just want to relax and just eat something really good.
Yeah.
Italian's kind of the way to go. But I like anything from different pasta dishes to pizza. But my most current favorite food right now has been pad thai. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
I'm a bolognese doll myself.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love red sauces, so I think that's part of the Italian piece too.
Yeah. That's amazing. I was just curious because I've noticed that a lot of authors will put their favorite things into their books. I just wondered if that was one for you there.
Yeah, it's funny because I think some of that is subconscious too. I never really thought about it, but
Yeah.
as talking about it through friends and stuff, I'm like, oh well, actually, yeah, I do like this, or I do think about things that way.
It's smart. I love realizing just how much of an author really comes out in their work. It's
Mm.
just so fun to note these things. Now, Daniel pays for the meal at the end. Now, is that something that you enjoy? Is when a man pays the bill, or do you like to split the check?
I actually myself, I prefer to pay for myself. I never feel easy, like I don't feel comfortable when other people pay.
Yeah.
Especially, like, if you go on a first date and then it just doesn't work out, then I feel like I owe them a second date because they paid for the meal. So then, if I pay, I don't have to worry about that. Like, if it doesn't work out, see you later. We never have to talk again.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. That's
Yeah.
that's that's hilarious.
Growing up in Maritimes, you always feel like you owe something to someone if they do something for you.
Yeah, you believe it or not, my husband is the complete same way. Even now, if I make him a cup of coffee in the morning, he has to come and bring me one later because even all these years on, he thinks that this is what you do, right? Well, you bought me one. That's my turn.
Yeah.
I was making coffee, dude. It seemed appropriate. It's so funny. It's so funny. I love that. Now, Daniel is an absolute sweetie pie. He's an absolute darling of a man. Now, where did you conjure him up from?
So in truth, Daniel and Elijah are the same person. They're modeled after the same guy. So I took different qualities from him to make each character.
Oh,
So the safe haven that Elijah gives Donna is one aspect of this person, and all the kind gestures that Daniel shows Donna represents the other side of him.
that's
So
really
in essence, in the choice that Donna makes between the two, she's still choosing the same person.
yeah. Oh my God, that's so clever. Oh my God, this is fascinating. Now, Donna obviously takes a writing course. It's something that she's interested in while she's working. And you're obviously an author, so you know how to write. But did you ever take creative writing classes in your youth?
So high school, you take your English literature courses and you do a lot of creative writing in those.
Right.
And in high school, I was introduced to a lot of different poets and writers that kind of sparked some ideas for me and more of a love of storytelling.
Yeah.
And you think about it, even as a child, you're always telling stories, sleepovers or campfires, usually a ghost story. It starts out orally, and then eventually we start turning it into writing on pen and paper. And then even in university, doing a lot of creating writing in university, taking those courses and just developing new ideas.
Always know you wanted to be an author.
Well, I've always loved writing for a long time. I've been doing it since high school, like actually like writing stories and writing poems and stuff. But I didn't think I could actually write anything where people would want to read it and have this kind of reaction that I've had. But the person that inspired Elijah and Daniel, he always told me, you need to take your writing seriously. Like he would read what I wrote him, little stories and stuff. And he's like, this is really good. You need to start publishing this. So then I just thought, so I was going through something this year, and through therapy, she also told me like being creative helps you process grief and the world around you. So then I started writing, and then came up with this story.
I'm not a writer. I struggle with even writing book reviews sometimes because I'm like, I don't know what to say, but I paint. So I completely understand
Mm,
like needing the creative outlet to process your thoughts and feelings because
yeah,
sketching does that for me. Like, so I completely get that. That is a powerful tool. I love that. I
yeah,
absolutely love that.
yeah. It started out with a few ideas that I jotted down, and then I knew where I want part. Like I knew the beginning and I knew the end,
Yeah.
and then it was just kind of putting all those pieces together for me.
How easy was it for you to work this story out? Obviously, you didn't really know, you knew where you wanted to start and where you wanted to end up, but how was the process in the middle getting there?
It took some time. So I had two colleagues that I would write a little bit. I'd let them read it, get their feedback. And then based on some suggestions, I would change something or add something to it. And then just kind of went from there, really. So, in all, it really didn't take me too long to write the story. It's just getting from point A to point B.
I know some authors have like a really easy time of getting it and they kind of tweak it on the next run through. And
Yeah.
others have the plan where they'll plot blocks and then they'll kind of make them fit. And then if it doesn't fit, they'll go through it again. Like every journey for author is an absolute unique process. And I'm learning so much. I'm like, wow, I thought that you just started writing and that was it. But oh no, there's so
No.
many facets.
Well, I find the editing process is what takes long. Like you write it and then you have people read it and then you change things and then you're reading it over and over and adding things and changing things. Like people would read it and then they would make a connection to something else and I would go back and re-edit and put in some new information. They're like, okay, now this makes sense. Now I can connect to this part here in the story.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Must have been very therapeutic. Now, there was something I wanted to ask about what was happening between Donna and Daniel. So she's promising herself to him, to Daniel, while she's telling Elijah that she still loves him. Now, do you feel that at that point they were having an emotional affair behind Daniel's back?
Part of her is cheating on Daniel. Like she thinks it's all innocent, but in the back of her mind, she knows, like, she should have told him from the beginning, all more about Elijah. So she is essentially cheating on him, but at the same time, where they're both modeled after the same person, she's not really cheating on him.
How hard is it to write something like that, like the almost love triangle between the three of them?
Kind of felt natural for the story just because I want her to be able to have that new love interest.
Yeah.
Um, but I also still wanted to keep Elijah in the story, so it was essential that there's parts throughout the story where they still have a connection and they're still talking to each other.
Now, are you Team Elijah or Team Daniel? Like, if you had to pick, who would you have picked?
I'm very much team Elijah. He's her very first love. He's that soul deep connection. He's her safe haven. She feels this bond with him and they both have a trauma that, connected them.
Took so long for Elijah to come back for her? Is it because she was ready moving on that he came back? Or that was one of my biggest questions was what took so long?
I think he kind of had lived his own life first, like he became an architect. So he had to go to school and study.
Yeah.
I did a little research about how long does it take to get your architect degree and stuff like that. And then he has to build his career. So the time that he starts doing that is when I allow him to come back into her life.
It was just really intriguing because I'm kind of like, you think from a teenage perspective that once you're an adult, you go back looking for that person, right? And they didn't keep in great contact either. And I was like, that was really interesting. It was almost like he was afraid he was going to lose her. And it was like, whoa, hang on a minute. This is imperative now. We'll die time, right?
Yeah, because it's not too long when she meets Daniel and things start getting serious that Elijah shows back up. So there is a part of him like maybe, I should see her again just to see if things are still there between us and maybe not lose her altogether.
Without at least knowing, right? Because you'd have
Yeah,
that for the rest of your life, that what if I hadn't? Like
yeah.
what if I had? Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good answer. Now, the ending to your book, because you asked me when you emailed me, you're like, did you get you okay? And I'm like, no, I was not okay. I was not okay, not one bit. I was absolutely destroyed because I was like low key angry at Donna for not letting Daniel go before it got this far. Oh my God, that ending. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. Now, do you think Donna feels responsible for what happened to Elijah at the end? And what piece of advice would you give her to help her get over her grief?
So I've heard almost every reader say this ending just really hits them. Like they cry over what happens, and it's not what they expect at all. They don't see that ending coming. So I think part of Donna does feel responsible for the choices she made, what led up to what happens to Elijah. But what happens to him is beyond her control. So she's not responsible for that. But the choices that she made leading up to that, not being honest with Daniel and everything, and letting things go further than she had intended with Elijah. So if I were giving her advice, I probably would have gave the same advice that's already in the book. Talk to someone, seek help if she needs it, processing trauma. And she has a lot of trauma from her past and the trauma that happens with Elijah. Going to a therapist can be really helpful. And then also where the therapist tells her, be creative, write down your thoughts and feelings. It can be a way for Donna to heal as well.
I just wondered because if she hadn't have made Elijah stay, like if she hadn't been seeing him, wondered if she felt kind of responsible for what happened because she should have just let him go. Maybe
Mm.
story alive, you know what I mean? And I guess that's what would weigh on my mind as a person. Like I invited you back into my life when you die. Like I think I would feel really responsible. So your book hit me in a lot of places that I didn't imagine I would have been hit with any other book. Like your writing is quite powerful and impactful. Now, what made you want to write in general fiction opposed to any other genre?
Most what I'm familiar with, when I tend to look for a book, it's more in the general fiction. I
Right,
really gravitate towards those stories where you can relate to the characters, you understand their choices, or at least you can sympathize with their choices,
right.
and you feel what they're going through. It's almost like your friend. You're reading your story about your friend. So I wanted to write a book that allowed readers to connect with Donna on that level, to kind of see themselves in her experience and emotions, and to feel alongside her life as she navigates it.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I think that you picked the exact right genre for you. It's just a lot of people tend to write to what people are buying, but I think you wrote to your authentic self. And I actually really love that.
I would know how else to write any other story. It's really what I gravitate towards, and I really want people. It's character driven more than anything, and
Yeah.
that's more what draws people in. And
Yeah, you're not
when
wrong.
you think about all the books that you've ever read, what ones do you remember most?
Mhm. It's a
Is it
character that draws you back. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
absolutely 100% correct.
yeah,
In- Incredible. It was absolutely incredible. The how different but similar all the characters kind of were, and they worked so well together, and they felt realistic, like somebody
yeah.
you'd meet on the street. So yeah, I would definitely say that the beauty of your writing is definitely in building characters. Now, how much research did you do to write this book? How much time did you actually spend researching?
I don't know about how much time, but I definitely did some research. For example, Mildred. I wanted people to know, if you understood last names, that Mildred is a safe person for Donna. So I looked up what last names meant. And when I found one that was talking about like safe or safety, that's the last name I chose for Mildred. I also kind of explored, different black and white movies that was somewhat mirrored elements of Donna's story. So in the novel, I chose An Affair to Remember. So it's the idea of about love being very deep, and no matter the time or distance apart, you still feel that connection. I also had to research what happens when you lose a pregnancy. Like, what is the process involved? You know, what does that look like for someone? So I had to research that as well.
Yeah,
And
that must.
I really like anyone who's gone through that. I want to be very sympathetic and respectful of that. So I
Yeah.
wanted to make it realistic that that was the right process.
Are you planning on writing a sequel to this book?
I don't know where I would take Donna's story. I, for now, feel that her story is complete.
Okay.
She's still healing and figuring out what she's going to do with her life and how to, get past that trauma.
So what was the initial spark to write this specific tale for you?
It came from a very personal place. So this past year, I was going through a very dark period of grief, just a lot of loss in my own life. Going through therapy, she suggested being creative and writing down my thoughts and ideas to help process my grief. And then I just started writing this story, and it just helped kind of make sense of life and a way to work through my emotions as well.
Love
So
that.
essentially, my reflection of what I was going through became Donna's story.
So would you say that the book's kind of almost got like a memoir like fictional quality to it then, if you've been drawing from your own life experiences?
There are definite moments that are me in the story. Conversations between Donna and Elijah are real conversations between me and that other person. And just some of Donna's experiences are real life as well.
So sad. Like even just feeling like, because you can really feel the pain coming off the pages. So I'm so sorry for whatever it was that you went through, because I could feel it. It was like being jabbed in the gut a lot all the way through this book. So that was it's beautiful that you can share that with other people and readers for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of grief put into that book.
It's tangible. You can really feel it. Now, did you read as a child? What books were your favorite children's books when you were growing up? And have they influenced your writing at all?
Subconsciously, somewhat, some books I've read have influenced me. As a child, I mean, I loved Judy Blume and Roald Dahl and E.B. White. Those were all kind of school books as well that you would read, and I just love reading them. You'd read one Judy Blume book, and then all of a sudden you're getting five more just to read. And then as a teen, I gravitated towards more adult oriented books like Memoirs of Keisha,
Yeah.
Jackie Collins, kind of that fun, smutty
Yeah.
book kind of to read. And
Same.
I don't read as much as I'd like to. Just, life and work kind of keeps me really busy. But when I go to bed, I usually try to read a chapter of a book. And I'm currently reading Little Fires Everywhere. And then after that, because I'm almost done, my next book is Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians is such a phenomenal series. I liked Little Fires Everywhere as well. That was a very good book, but Crazy Rich Asians was so well done. I was
Yeah.
not expecting the what happens in that book to happen. I love the author though. So good. That's a translated book too, right? Like that was
Okay.
translated from another language, I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's absolutely fascinating. That's absolutely amazing. But I've got one question for you. So do you use a bookmark when you read or do you dog ear your pages?
I actually use a magnetic bookmark.
Yay! They make so much sense. I have an autistic daughter and she likes to pull bookmarks out and the magnetic ones are not so easy to do.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those. And I
And
absolutely love that.
the traditional bookmarks, they always fall out when you're trying to like put the book down or something.
Yeah, well, I have a book merch store, which is funny. And if somebody was like, I want one of your bookmarks, but I don't want it laminated because they slide out. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I completely understand. I get it. Because I can't find my page again. I'm an absolute nightmare. So those magnetic ones they're my favorites. Now, I thought so that my listeners could maybe get to know you a little better. We do a little this or that, but literary edition. Are you ready? Okay, just let me know why you picked it. Do you prefer hard copy books or ebooks?
Yeah, I like something physical in my hands.
Yeah. It's funny because that was always me too. I love because I like pretty books, but on the go, I carry my Kindle with me. So I've always got my e-reader.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of in the middle now, which I never thought would happen. Now, do you prefer to write with a pen and paper or on your laptop?
On my laptop. Just easier. When you're pen and paper, you gotta scratch things out, and then you gotta make sense of all that mess.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? Sometime when they said to me that they actually use a typewriter. And I'm
Okay.
like, wow, that is old school and hard. And they
It
weren't
is.
that old. I'm like, clearly they want the authentic being an author. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, can you imagine Tipex? Do you prefer to write in the mornings or are you more of a night owl?
Usually in the mornings, I have this nice deck, a beautiful background to look at. So getting up in the morning, sitting on the deck when the summer sun's shining and just nice and relaxing, listening to the birds and the wind chimes. It's very
Mm.
like I find it inspirational.
Magical. That is
Yeah.
magical. I get up in the mornings and I'm lucky if it's silent still. So are you more of a research or an inspiration when it comes to your writing?
Inspiration. I do research when it's necessary for something I'm not familiar with or, terminology I don't really know. So that's when I do research, but most of it is just inspiration.
Yeah, I could tell. I know when I'm reading these questions, I know pretty much what I think you're gonna say because it comes out in your writing. It's so authentic. Loved it. Loved it. Are you more mountains or beaches?
Mountains. Just something more magical about the woods.
Unless you live where I live and we get snow like 8 months of the year because we're right by the Rockies. And I
Uh,
thought it was whimsical until I moved here. And now I'm like, give me a beach any day. And I'm not a big fan of beaches. Do you prefer to drink coffee or tea?
I have this big cupboard full of tea that
Same.
just never seems to empty.
Big. I love all the like flavored teas, like
Mm.
hibiscus. Yeah. I used to be coffee and now I'm like, oh no, I prefer tea. It's crazy how you change as you get older.
I've been getting into cold brew though. I do like a cold brew.
Yeah. I've never, you know what? I've never had it. Never had it. I'm just cream and sugar in my coffee. That's it. I don't do no fancy whip stuff or flavors. Like so boring. I'm so boring.
If you can find a good flavoring for the cold brew, it's really nice.
Oh, I might give it a shot. I might give it a shot and I'll let you know what I think. Are you more of a summer person or a winter person?
Definitely summer. I
Yeah.
love to be able to just get up, get dressed, and then go out the door. I don't have to worry about putting all these layers on and everything.
I
And sandals.
somewhere though too lots of snow. And I mean we got like 25 centimeters overnight. So I
Oh
went
no.
to bed and it was bare and I woke up and I'm like, I can't see anything. And I live in Calgary, so we literally it's perpetual winter and then it's just too hot. I need to move. I need to move. Do you prefer a quiet study for writing or a busy cafe?
I like quiet so that I can just kind of hear my thoughts. And I get distracted very easily. So if I'm out somewhere, I'm people watching.
Yes.
So I get very
Yeah.
distracted.
But have you ever like drawn from watching people out to put into your writing?
Oh
Like
yes,
my
definitely.
God.
Yeah. People are a great amusement.
Are you more of a travel or a stay home kind of person?
Stay at home. I really don't travel. I mean, in my 20s, yeah, I traveled a lot around my province and stuff, but now I'm just kind of, no, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, when I lived in the UK, traveling was so cheap. You could go to Europe for like
Mm.
80 quid, and that's hotel and flights. Now that's not even a tank of gas to Edmonton from Calgary. Staying home is cheaper.
If I lived somewhere like that, I probably would travel more, was cheaper, but when it costs you so much to travel that you just want to stay home anyway.
Yeah, it's and then you have to like you get home, you have to recover from being on vacation because you're tired. And I used to, not anymore. I'm a homebody now. Are you more cats or dogs?
Actually, kind of neither. I'm allergic to them. No
No.
pets for me, except for the ones outside.
You got a goldfish?
No,
Yeah, I'm a dog person, but yeah, that's about the extent of it for me. Well, I already know the answer to this one, character driven or plot driven story, because we already talked about that.
yeah,
Do you find writing plots easy or do you prefer basing your stuff on characters?
I really prefer characters. It's just what draws you in. That drives your plot too, as well, when you have that character piece in there.
For sure, for sure. Somebody else Charmander said you can't have a plot without the characters driving it. So
Yeah.
well, that makes complete sense to me. Are you more of a happy endings kind of person or a bittersweet conclusion?
I think right now,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to write happy right now.
No, I guess not. But you know what? Your book may have ended on the way that it did, but I kind of feel like it was still kind of hopeful. Like there
Yeah,
was hope for something more in the future. So I kind of appreciated that. Do you prefer reading genre fiction or literary fiction?
I think really ones that have the stories, the characters, the literary fiction piece to it. I really want to know who the characters are and what their journey is.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. What's worse for you, reader's block or writer's block?
Writer's block, because that can
Yeah.
take a long time to figure out where you're going next.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And last one is, do you prefer originality or do you follow reader expectation with your stories?
Not really sure on that one. I guess originality at the end of the day, if I have to choose either.
Yeah. I kind of get the feeling that you would maybe weave a little bit in what readers are expecting as long as it doesn't take away from your story. That's kind of what I got from your work. So, that's amazing. Well, that was so much fun.
It was.
Now, don't know what you're working on right now. Are you working on anything?
Yes, I just finished another novel. So now I'm going through the editing piece. It's called What She Left Behind.
Oh,
So another character driven kind of journey, a young girl going through her life. But at the end of the day, it's about unintended consequences.
love that. When can readers expect to be able to buy this one?
I'm hoping January.
Oh, wow, so really soon. Oh my
I'm
gosh,
doing
it's
all
really
self-publishing, so you
yeah,
can
I
do
guess
a
you
lot
can do whatever you
faster.
want.
Yeah.
Guess you can do whatever you want. Who is it that does your cover designs for your books?
Right now, just Amazon.
Yeah?
You can use their cover designs that they have kind of pre-done already.
Handy. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah.
I wondered if maybe you were creative and you'd
Not that artistic.
ah, but you know what? Your creativeness is in your writing, so
True.
that's your power right there. Now, where can readers buy the book that we've been talking about today, and where can they find you on your social medias?
So my book can be found on Amazon.
Yep.
I also have an author page on Amazon as well.
Oh, good.
And I have TikTok, and I believe my handle is at Angela Harrington, all one word and 7 at the end. And then my Instagram is Angela.Harrington.
So I'm hoping that some of my listeners will go out and grab a copy of your book. It was revelational for me. Even though it's not my story and it wasn't my journey, I felt seen in a really abstract kind of way. I felt like you were putting out the kind of people that I would have liked to have gotten to know in my real life. And I really appreciated your work. I think you're an absolutely beautiful author. And I can't wait to see what more you come up with. And I hope I get to read your next book too.
Oh, thank you.
Guys, I urge you to go out and get a copy of Angela Harrington's book, Shattering Glass. It's not my normal genre, as you guys know. I don't read a lot of general fiction, but I was wowed by the writing. I really highly recommend. My review will be going live sometime today. You can find me on my social medias on Instagram at Ladulteress4. You can find me on my TikTok at Ladulteress. I have my Facebook page at Ladulteress. You can find me on YouTube at Ladulteress, on my Spotify channel at Ladulteress, and pretty much anywhere that podcasts air. We hope that you have a wonderful reading week, readers, and I will catch you again another day. Thanks so much for coming on, Angela. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. It was very nice to meet you.
You too. Take care of yourself.